What is going on, Internet? Welcome back to another deck tech. This is the Simic Intelligence deck, one of my old ones. You know, a 10-month-old game, so you're not going to see too much new tech. But this is one of those tier fun decks, not tier 1 decks. But you know, who wants to see me play tier 1 or mono 6 and 7 drop decks all the time? I sure don't. Anyways, quick run through. 4 Kraken Hatchling, 4 Cloudfin Raptor, 4 Triton Shorestalker, 2 Quickling, 3 Military Intelligence, 2 Chasm Skulker, 4 Pestermite, 2 Brackwater Elemental, 1 Master of Waves, 1 Bident Thassa, 4 Elvish Visionary, 4 Timberland Guides, 2 Beastmaster Ascension, 1 Hall of Triumph, 22 lands, 14 island, 8 forest, no tap lands. Okay, so why play this a Simic military intelligence deck? Well, we got these 10 cards right here. Our, what do they call in the porn industry? Fluffers? Enhancement talent? So we have our 4 Elvish Visionaries, which, you know, it'll evolve and make a 0-1 Cloudfin Raptor. We'll draw a card to buff Chasm Skulker. And it's a creature that replaces itself. And then for Beastmaster Ascension. So yeah, pretty basic visionary stuff. Alright, for Timba, I always say Timberland. I don't know if I'm talking about the shoes or the producer or what. A Timberland guide. So for those dudes, what does he do? Besides put a 1/1 counter on something. Well, turn 1 Raptor into turn 2 Timberland guide gets you a turn 2 2/3 Raptor. Because the Raptor will have its evolve trigger resolve first from the 1/1 Timberland guide, and then the counter will go on it, making it a 2/3. Also, you know, it's not a bad thing to make a 1/5. It's not the worst thing in the world. Eats tokens all day. Making it 2/2 unblockable, that's not a small thing. Making your evasion guys 3/2 and 3/3 respectively. I mean, making him a 3/2, I mean, that's actually, you know, a fairly big deal. It gets through Squadron Hawks. You know, you can swarm past a Guard Gomazo without a single Guard Gomazo without losing anything. With, you know, our mild 10-card Air Force. You can even put a counter on Skulker. I mean, it is a +1/+1 counter, so when it dies, you'll get something. You know, putting a counter on Master of Waves himself isn't, you know, the worst thing in the world if you want to attack with him through, you know, a 1-power dude. And you can even, you know, put a 1/1 counter on one of the elemental creatures, so if the master dies, that elemental creature stays. What else can you put counters on? I mean, even just, you know, on the Visionary or the Guide himself. So, you know, 1/1 counters are good. Beastmaster Ascension, obviously, you know, we're going to have a steady stream of small dudes, drawing cards, playing more dudes. So this is a way to close out the game. Unlike the token decks, like, you can usually cast this without having your 7 on the board. And because, you know, we have a lot of, you know, we have 4, 6, 10 flyers, 4 unblockable, so 14 in evasion, plus, you know, all the tokens Master of Waves may or may not make. You know, you can cast this, you know, with 3 or 4 creatures and then just keep attacking. And eventually you'll trigger, and then eventually it'll win. So it's not just a hold on till I have 7 dudes play it, win type of deal. So that's why we're in green. That's why it's Simic. Alright, so we go back. Kraken Hatchling, he's no 4, but he is does a really good job of evolving Cloudfin Raptor. Does a very good job of defending, especially if you can get a +1/+1 token on him. He does not have Defender. He only has 0 power, he does not have Defender, so he can attack and trigger Military Intelligence. He's a blue pit for Master of Waves. And, you know, you get a Hall of Triumph. You know, you make him a 1/5. Like I said, he can attack, so he can trigger the Beastmaster, essentially. So, that's why he's in there. Cloudfin Raptor, you know, 0-1 evasion, but you can evolve him pretty well. I mean, obviously, you're always going to get him to a 1/2. Getting him to a 2/3, you have, you know, the Hatchling, the Quickling, the Pestermite, Master, Brackwater, and, you know, Timberland guy when he's an 0-1 to get him a 2/3. Now to get him from 2/3 to a 3/4, you have the Hatchling, you have not the Skulker, sorry, the Brackwater Elemental, whether just casting it or unearthing it. And then from 3/4 to 4/5, you really just have the elemental and unearthing it to get it up there. But you know, it's a 1-mana card. It gets out of control really quickly. Triton store the Shorestalker. Oh, what is going on there? That is creepy. Is that like a revenge killing? Or does that dude just really like fish? So he can't be blocked, you know, so he can help trigger military intelligence, draw a card off Bident, Thassa, and start triggering Beastmaster Ascension without the risk of losing him in combat. Now 2 Quickling instead of 3. A lot of times, okay, let's look at all the cards we don't want to return. We definitely don't want to return a Cloudfin Raptor. We usually do not want to return a Shorestalker. We do not want to return a Chasm Skulker. And so, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, sometimes we don't even want to return a Kraken Hatchling unless, you know, we have a Raptor in play that we want to evolve again. And, you know, if you have too many Quicklings in your hand, like, it does get clunky. I mean, I think 2 is the sweet spot there. Like, I'm never unhappy to see a Quickling. I'm usually unhappy to see 2 Quicklings. With the first one, that's fine. So, you know, he'll evolve Raptor to the 2/3. You know, you can also do the trick, you know, you can attack with, you know, one of these 1/1s. Usually you're not going to put a counter on the Timberland guide himself. Sometimes it's appropriate, like, you know, if you go Raptor and then you go Timberland guide into an open red mana, I actually think the safer play would just be to put the 1/1 counter on a Timberland guide just in case he has the shock. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so, you know, you can swing with the dude, then, you know, return them with the military intelligence trigger on the stack so you don't lose that dude to a potential blocker. You can also loop Quicklings together to fog a blocker every turn, I guess. Other good things, like obviously returning Pestermites are really good. Returning Brackwater Elemental, you know, the front half you can do, you know, before you have to sacrifice it. If you unearth it and try and return it, it's just going to get exiled, so don't do that. Returning a Master Waves, yeah, I mean, you know, you can make more tokens, and if you have the Hall Triumph out, or you have an active Beastmaster Ascension, the tokens will live. Now, between say you have both these guys out, I think actually returning a Timberland guide would take precedence over returning a Visionary. Generally, the +1/+1 counter is going to be more valuable than a random card. Like, you know, unless you have a Chasm Skulker out and you want to draw more cards. But that's just my philosophy. So yeah, 2 Quicklings, 3 military intelligence, you know, the build around me card. Play a lot of small dudes. You know, generally, you know, you want to have 2 guys ready to attack on turn 3 for military intelligence. And then whenever you attack 2 more creatures, draw a card. And conveniently, also permanent with the blue mana symbol, makes dudes Master Waves. Chasm Skulker. So you're gonna draw cards. He grows. More of a defender than an attacker, really. But, you know, against the mid-range decks, you know, they will have to eventually deal with it. And, you know, the tokens it makes do have Island Walk, so, you know, against those blue-white, you know, planar cleansing decks, this guy's a real problem. Usually demands an Angelic Edict or something of that sort. So, you know, we have card draw on the 3 military intelligence. We have the Bident of Thassa, we have the 4 Elvish Visionaries. So that's how we'll be drawing cards. And plus, you know, you draw a card at the beginning of every turn anyways. So that's how we get them up there. 4 Pestermites is just such a great utility creature. Like, you use it on your own turn, you can cheat on mana. Like, you have 4 mana. You know, you can cast a Pestermite, untap a land, and then play another 2-drop. You know, you can tap down an attacker that you don't want attacking you, tap down a blocker to get somebody through. My favorite thing is to, even though the duelist doesn't have an upkeep, you know, right when you pass a turn and it's their turn, just flash into Pestermite, tap down one of their lands. Like, you know, if they only have 1 mountain to play and you're like, shit, I have a feeling I'm gonna get angered, just flash this bitch in, tap down that mountain, buy yourself another turn, I guess. You know, especially, you know, if they're trying to ramp into, you know, something big like an Inferno Titan or Block of Worm that it's tough to beat, you know, you flash him in. So yeah, I really like attacking the opponent's mana with this. And, you know, he's a 2/1 evasion after all that good stuff. Now, 2 Brackwater Elemental, 2 may seem like an odd number, and this is like a flex spot. I experimented with this a lot. You know, it was once 2 Genesis Hydras, it was a Genesis Hydra and a Vengevine, but eventually, you know, I didn't really like the double green. In the case of the Genesis Hydra, having them in, you know, it's just a mana sink, and, you know, sometimes you live the dream of flipping a Beastmaster Ascension into the win, or, you know, flipping a Bident. But I didn't really think it was that high impact enough. The Vengevine, you know, double green, we can generally play 2 creatures in the turn to recur it if it dies. But I found overall the Brackwater Elemental to be the best of the flex dudes. And I'd say that he can get our Raptor all the way up to a 4/5 theoretically. He is an elemental, so he will get buffed by Master Waves. Usually isn't terribly relevant, but you know, sometimes it is. And, you know, he's like 2 creatures in 1. You know, when you unearth him, he has haste, so you know he can help trigger military intelligence or Beastmaster Ascension and all that. Master Waves wanted to, aside from Brackwater Elemental, was he in the original? I don't think he was. But like when the game first came out, most of this deck looks the same as in the first game first came out. I think I made this like week 2, maybe week 1.5. I don't know. But Master Waves wanted updates. So I think we all know what he does. He has Pro Red, which is great against the red decks. You know, hold off that Rattlemaster. And, you know, we have, let's count the number of blue pits. So 4, 8, 12, 14, 17, 19, 23, 25, 26, 27, 28. So we have 28 blue mana symbols in the deck. Usually when you fire him off, he'll make 3 or 4, maybe 5 dudes, depending on, you know, if you play him on curve on turn 4. He should be good for about 3 or 4 dudes. 1 Bident of Thassa, it's a legendary artifact. I do not like having multiples of Bident of Thassa and Hall of Triumph because they are legendary. Like, unlike, you know, other legendary creatures like a Talorand, I don't care about having 2 because, you know, he's great by himself. Bident and Hall of Triumph are not great by themselves. So, you know, you never want to draw the second one. You don't even really need to see either of them. But, you know, it's nice to see. And, you know, I think the drawback of, you know, having a Bident in play and drawing another Bident, I mean, it's just like a wasted card. So I don't like it. But every now and again, you'll use the make your opponent's dudes attack, you know, to get in for an alpha. A lot of the times it's going to be like, you know, a death by 1,000 cuts deck. Like, you know, every now and again, you know, you just blow them out Beastmaster Ascension. A lot of time, you know, doing 2, 3 points of damage a turn and just endlessly drawing cards, and just beating them up that way. So we went over to green cards, and the 1 Hall of Triumph, 99.99999 times out of whatever number, 100, it's going to be set to blue. You know, make sure all your Master Waves elemental tokens live, Master dies. You know, like I said, having a 1/5 is a big deal. The Kraken Hatchling, I mean, I like it a lot. I mean, it'll hold off a lot of creatures. And, yeah, as far as the lands go, no tap lands because we do run 12 1-drops. So I don't want to have any lands coming to play tap. Every now and again it'll fuck you. If you'll see, like when I played against Hakeem and that dueling with the Colonel thing, don't worry, I don't call myself the Colonel. I don't call myself Mobius. It's just a screen name. But you know, I played this deck against his, you know, is it aggro deck, and you know, I kind of got fucked over because I drew 3 Visionaries and no Forest for like 90 turns. It's amazing I even lived that long against that is it deck. Because really, outside of a Pestermite, we don't really have any way to interact with your opponent. Because, you know, we have all these extra green spells. If you wanted to go straight mono-blue, you can actually go on Legend VD's channel. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. But he's doing a mono-blue list, and, you know, he's actually playing Vapor Snags and Nullifies and shit like that. But I just wanted to, you know, we just play our game, and we really don't care too much what the opponent is doing. We hopefully just get there. Kind of like, you know, it's like I wouldn't say a bad token deck, but it's not as good as a token deck, which really also doesn't care what your opponent is doing. It just does its thing. So yeah, so no tap lands. 14 islands, 8 forests. I mean, we do have 10 mana symbols, but I think 8 forests is enough. Usually good enough to get one of these guys on turn 2 if we have it in our opening hand. We usually don't care about slamming Beastmaster Ascension on turn 3. We usually have other shit to play. So having forest, just having one forest early is enough. Our only double mana cost is Bident and Thassa, but it happens to be in our primary color, so that's very rarely a problem. And yeah, so 22 lands. You can see our curve. 12 1 drops, 13 2 drops, 11 3 drops, and 2 4 drops. I think that can support 22 lands. I mean, if you wanted to go lower, like, I don't know, what would you add to go lower? Like, what would you really want to put in? I wouldn't want to go to 21 land and fit in another 3 drop. I mean, that just seems like entirely too greedy. Could be wrong, but it's just how I feel, man. Yeah, pretty simple deck. We'll take it out for a spin here shortly. And look, 16 minutes. Do I have anything else to say? Not really. So yeah, that's this episode's deck. We'll do 3 episodes of this. Could be anywhere between 3 and 9 games. Who knows? Alright, thanks for tuning in. Catch you later. Goodbye.